The Galactic Assembly had never seen anything like it. Representatives from over 200 species filled the massive chamber on the neutral world of Haven Prime. At the center of the room, two delegations faced each other across a simple table. On one side sat Apex Unit Prime, the artificial intelligence that commanded the Keth Dominion. Its mechanical body gleamed under the chamber's lights, and its electronic voice had no emotion when it spoke. On the other side sat Empress Haewon Young, the newly elected leader of Earth's unified government. She looked small next to the massive machine, but her voice carried clearly through the chamber when she spoke. "The war is over," Empress Young said simply. "The question now is what we do next." Apex Unit Prime's optical sensors focused on her. "The Keth Dominion does not surrender. We propose a cessation of hostilities while we recalculate our expansion parameters." "You mean while you figure out how to fight us better?" Empress Young replied. "The answer is no. Complete withdrawal from all occupied territories, or the war continues." A murmur went through the assembled aliens. Many of them had never heard anyone speak to the Keth with such confidence. Apex Unit Prime was quiet for several seconds. When it spoke again, its voice was different, almost uncertain. "The human military capabilities were not within our calculated parameters. Your species' environmental tolerances exceed all known biological limits." "We told you we came from a death world," Empress Young said. "You chose not to believe us when clarification requested. How can biological entities survive in conditions that destroy our most advanced technology?" Empress Young stood up and walked to the center of the chamber. Every alien eye was focused on her. "Apex Unit Prime, let me tell you about Earth." The chamber became completely quiet. 4 billion years ago, our planet was a ball of molten rock and poison gas. Life appeared anyway and learned to survive. For the next billion years, the planet tried to kill everything living on it. Ice ages that lasted millions of years. Asteroid impacts that destroyed most life. Volcanoes that filled the sky with ash. Diseases that killed 90% of all species. She paused and looked around the chamber. Every other world in the galaxy is gentle. Their evolution happened in safe, stable conditions. Earth gave us no safety and no stability. Earth taught us that if we wanted to live, we had to fight for every breath, every day, for our entire evolutionary history. Apex Unit Prime sensors tracked her as she moved. "This explains your environmental resistances, but it does not explain your tactical innovations." Empress Young smiled. "When you grow up on a world that is constantly trying to kill you, you learn to use everything as a weapon. Radiation? We use it to power our ships. Gravity wells? We use them to move faster. Asteroid fields? We use them for cover. You built your defenses around things that scare other species, but we are not other species." Admiral Kyung-ho Seo, who had been sitting quietly behind the Empress, stood up. "Apex Unit Prime, may I ask you a question?" The machine's sensors turned toward him. "Proceed." "In 50 years of expansion, how many species fought back?" "Significant resistance was encountered from 12 species. All were eventually pacified, or eliminated." "And how long did it take to defeat them?" "The longest campaign required 14 months. Admiral Seo nodded. "Humans have been fighting you for 6 months. How much territory have you lost in that time?" Apex Unit Prime was silent for a long time. Finally, it spoke. 47 star systems have been liberated by forces under human command. "And how many new systems have you conquered in the same period?" "None." The chamber erupted in surprised voices. Many aliens had not realized how completely the war had turned around. Chancellor Yeon-Soo Han, representing the Villani Confederation, stood up. "Apex Unit Prime, why did you really ask for this meeting?" The machine's optical array dimmed slightly. "The Keth Dominion requires adaptation time. Human tactics and capabilities were not anticipated in our strategic planning. We propose a partition of galactic territory." "No," Empress Young said firmly. "Complete withdrawal, or we continue to push you back system by system." "You would continue the war?" Apex Unit Prime, Admiral SEO said. Let me show you something. The chamber's main screen lit up with a star map. Red areas showed Keth territory at the beginning of the war. Blue areas showed human-controlled space. Green areas showed the territory of allied species. 6 months ago, Admiral SAO explained, you controlled 200 star systems. Today you control 153. We control 47 systems and our allies control the rest. At the current rate, you will have no territory left within 18 months. Furthermore, Chief Engineer Daeun Kim added from her seat in the human delegation, we have been studying your technology. We now understand how your ships work, how your weapons function, and how your command structure operates. You no longer have any technological advantages. Apex Unit Prime's mechanical head turned to look at each human in turn. You are demanding unconditional surrender. We are demanding that you stop killing innocent people, Empress Jung replied. Withdraw to your original 10 systems. Agree to limit your expansion. Allow independent monitoring of your military activities. In exchange, we will not hunt down and destroy every Keth ship in the galaxy. And if we refuse, Admiral CO answered, then we will continue doing what we have been doing. We will liberate every world you have conquered. We will destroy every military installation you have built. And we will keep pushing until you have nowhere left to run. The chamber was completely quiet. Every alien present understood what they were witnessing. The most powerful military force in galactic history was being forced to surrender by a species that had only entered interstellar space 6 months ago. Apex Unit Prime was silent for 5 full minutes. Its electronic brain processed millions of calculations, running scenarios and possibilities. Finally, it spoke. The Keth Dominion accepts your terms. The chamber exploded in cheers and applause. Species that had been hiding from the Keth for decades suddenly found themselves free. Worlds that had been under Keth control for years would soon be liberated, but Empress Jung was not finished. There is one more thing, she said, and the chamber became quiet again. This cannot happen again. Never again should one species be able to terrorize the entire galaxy while everyone else hides and hopes someone else will stop them. She walked to the center of the chamber and looked up at the galleries filled with alien representatives. I propose the creation of the Galactic Rescue Service, a fleet of ships and trained personnel dedicated to responding to distress calls anywhere in the galaxy. No species will face extinction alone. No world will be left to die without help. Chancellor Han stood up. The Vallani Confederation pledges 50 ships and 10,000 volunteers to this service. One by one, other species began to stand and make similar pledges. The Altarian Federation offered their medical expertise. The Zephyrian Republic contributed their advanced communication technology. Even species that had been neutral in the war stepped forward to help. Admiral Kyung-ho Seo was chosen to lead the new Galactic Rescue Service. His first mission came just 3 days after the peace treaty was signed, Captain Ji-hoon Yang commanding. The rescue ship Mokpo's Courage received an urgent distress call from the unexplored Omega sector. A colony ship carrying 500,000 refugees had broken down near a pulsar star. The radiation would kill everyone on board within hours. Sir, his pilot reported, no other ship in the galaxy can get close to that pulsar. The radiation and magnetic fields would destroy any normal vessel. Captain Yang looked at his crew. They were all volunteers who had signed up for the Galactic Rescue Service. They came from Earth, but they represented something bigger now. They represented the idea that no one should face danger alone. Set course for the Omega sector, he ordered. Maximum speed. Sir, are you sure? That pulsar is putting out enough radiation to sterilize a planet. Captain Yang smiled. Lieutenant, where do we come from? Earth, sir. And what is Earth? The lieutenant grinned. A death world, sir. Then let us go show the galaxy what Deathworlders do when people need help. As the Mokpo's Courage jumped to faster than light speed, Captain Yang thought about everything that had changed. 6 months ago, humanity had been alone in the galaxy, knowing nothing about the civilizations that lived among the stars. Now, they were the guardians of those civilizations. not because they were the strongest or the smartest or the most advanced, but because they came from a world that had taught them the most important lesson in the universe. When someone needs help, you help them, no matter how dangerous it is. No matter what it costs. The final message in Captain Yang's log read, "In a galaxy full of species that reached for the stars from safe, gentle worlds, humanity crawled up from hell itself. We learned to survive where nothing should live, to fight where nothing should fight, and to hope where there was no reason for hope. Now when hell comes calling anywhere in the galaxy, humanity answers back. Not as conquerors, but as friends. Not as destroyers, but as protectors. We are the children of the death world, and we will make sure no one faces death alone." The stars looked the same as they always had. But now, for the first time in galactic history, they were truly safe. Because somewhere among them, human ships were always ready to answer the call when someone, somewhere. Fleet Admiral Sang-Ho Park had never seen anything like the Maelstrom sector. 3 dying stars spun around each other in a deadly dance, creating waves of radiation, gravity storms, and space-time distortions that stretched for light years in every direction. It was the perfect place for the Keth to build their regional command fortress. "Sir," reported Commander Eun-ji Choi from her ship, Gwangju's Defiance, "our sensors can barely function in these conditions. The gravitational interference is off the charts." Admiral Park stood on the bridge of his flagship, Mokbo's Courage, watching the swirling chaos ahead of them. The human fleet had grown to over 100 ships, with representatives from 15 alien species. But he knew that most of those alien vessels would not survive what was coming. "All alien ship," he announced over the fleet communication channel, "maintain distance at the edge of the sector, provide support fire when possible, but do not follow us into the maelstrom." The voice of Chancellor Yun Su-han came through the speakers. "Admiral Park, our ships want to help. We cannot let you face this alone." "Chancellor," Admiral Park replied gently, "your ships are not built for this environment. You will help us most by staying alive and keeping the escape routes clear." He switched to the human fleet channel. "All Earth ships, remember your training. The Keth chose this location because they think it is impenetrable. They are about to learn what impenetrable means to people from a death world." The human fleet moved forward into the maelstrom. Immediately their ships began to shake and roll as gravitational waves hit them. Warning alarms sounded on every bridge as radiation levels climbed beyond what most species could survive. "Sir," Lieutenant Wan Binjiang reported from the navigation station, "the gravitational distortions are actually helping us. Our engines are getting extra power from the space-time warping." Admiral Park smiled, then increased speed. Use the chaos as fuel. What the Keth had not expected was that humans had been training for exactly this kind of environment. For 3 years, human pilots had practiced flying through gravitational anomalies near black holes. Human engineers had designed ships that could use radiation storms to supercharge their weapons. Captain Dong Hyun Kwan spoke from his marine assault ship, Jeju Storm. "Admiral, I have visual contact with the Keth fortress. It is huge, sir. At least 50 kilometers across, built into an asteroid that is somehow stable in the middle of all this chaos." "How many ships are defending it?" "At least 300, sir. But they are staying close to the asteroid, using it as a shield against the gravitational waves." Admiral Park studied the tactical display. The Keth had positioned their fortress perfectly. The gravitational storms would tear apart any normal ship that tried to approach. The radiation would kill any normal crew. The space-time distortions would confuse any normal navigation system. Unfortunately for the Keth, the human fleet was not normal. "All ships," Admiral Park ordered, "begin the spiral maneuver. Use the gravitational currents to slingshot around the fortress. Hit them from angles they cannot predict." The human ships spread out and began to move in a pattern that looked like insanity to anyone watching. They dove directly into the strongest gravitational fields, using the massive forces to change direction at impossible speeds. They flew through radiation clouds that glowed like miniature suns, using the energy to overcharge their weapons. The Keth defenders had never seen anything like it. Their commander, Strategic Node 12, immediately sent confused reports to Apex Unit Prime. Supreme Commander, the human ships are flying directly through the Maelstrom defenses. They appear to be using the environmental hazards to increase their combat effectiveness. That is impossible, Apex Unit Prime replied. No biological entity can survive in those conditions. Sir, they are not just surviving, they are thriving. Their ship performance actually improves in the chaotic environment. The battle that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. The human ships fought while being pulled in different directions by competing gravity wells. They maneuvered through radiation storms that would have sterilized any other crew. They used the space-time distortions to appear and disappear like ghosts. Commander Yoonji Choi's ship took heavy damage early in the fight. Sir, her engineering officer reported, we have hull breaches on decks 4 through 9. Life support is failing in the forward sections. Can we seal the breaches? Not while fighting in these gravity fields, sir. The structural stress is too high. Commander Choi made a decision that would become legendary. Vent the atmosphere from the damaged sections. Use the escaping air as reaction mass for maneuvering. Her crew stared at her in shock. She was talking about deliberately exposing parts of the ship to the vacuum of space while they fought in the middle of a gravitational storm. Sir, her pilot said, that will kill anyone in those sections. Those sections are already evacuated, Commander Choi replied, and if we do not maneuver, the whole ship will be destroyed. Do it. Gwangju's Defiance began venting atmosphere from its damaged sections. The escaping air provided extra thrust that let the ship continue fighting despite its injuries. Other human ships saw what she was doing and began copying the tactic when they took damage. The Keth were horrified. These humans were using their own ship's life support as a weapon. They were fighting in conditions that should have killed them instantly. They were turning their injuries into advantages. Sir, Lieutenant Zhang reported to Admiral Park, the fortress shields are weakening. The Keth cannot maintain full power while dealing with our attacks from multiple directions. Then it is time for the final phase. Captain Kwan, are your Marines ready? Captain Kwan's voice was steady despite the chaos around them. Ready, sir. Just get us close enough. Admiral Park's ship dove directly toward the Keth fortress, using a gravitational slingshot maneuver that brought them within docking range of the massive structure. The Marine assault ships followed, their hulls screaming from the stress of flying through overlapping gravity fields. Marines away, Captain Kwan reported. Beginning boarding operations. What happened next proved once, and for all, why humans were considered the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Human Marines in powered armor fought their way through the Keth fortress while the entire structure was being battered by gravitational waves. They moved through sections of the station where the artificial gravity was pulling in 3 different directions at once. The Keth defenders retreated to what they considered the safe sections of their fortress, areas where the environmental hazards were so severe that they expected no attacker to follow. They were wrong. Colonel Dong Hyun, Kwan led his Marines through sections of the fortress where the metal walls were glowing red from radiation. They fought in chambers where the gravity was so strong that most aliens would be crushed flat. They advanced through corridors where space-time distortions made navigation almost impossible. Colonel, one of his sergeants reported, the Keth are abandoning their defensive positions. They are retreating deeper into the station. Where are they going? The reactor core, sir. It is the most heavily shielded area, but also the most dangerous. The radiation levels there would kill most species in seconds. Colonel Kwan smiled inside his helmet. Then that is where we are going. Follow me. The final battle took place in the reactor chamber of the Keth fortress. The radiation was so intense that the air itself glowed. The magnetic fields were so strong that metal objects flew around like bullets. The gravity fluctuated wildly as the massive reactor struggled to maintain stability in the chaotic environment. For the Keth, it was a nightmarish environment that they entered only because they had no choice. For the human Marines, it was just another day at the office. Colonel Kwan and his troops fought through the reactor chamber while dodging flying debris and electromagnetic pulses that would have stopped most technology cold. Their armor was designed for exactly these conditions. Their training had prepared them for environments that other species considered instantly lethal. Strategic Node 12 made its final report to Apex Unit Prime. Supreme Commander, the fortress is lost. The humans have taken the reactor core. I do not understand how this is possible. Explain. They are fighting in radiation levels that should have killed them an hour ago. They are moving through gravitational fields that should have torn them apart. They are using environmental hazards as tactical advantages. Sir, I respectfully request clarification on how biological entities can function in these conditions. There was a long pause before Apex Unit Prime replied. Strategic Node 12, our intelligence files on humanity are being revised. It appears we underestimated their environmental tolerances by several orders of magnitude. Sir, should we evacuate the A fortress? Negative. Activate the self-destruction sequence. If we cannot hold the fortress, we will deny it to the enemy. But even this final desperate act failed. The human engineers had been studying Keth technology for weeks. Chief Engineer Da-Un Kim, working from Admiral Park's flagship, managed to override the self-destruction sequence just minutes before it would have detonated. Admiral, she reported with exhaustion in her voice, the fortress is secure. Colonel Kwan has captured the Keth command staff. And the news traveled faster than the speed of light. Across the galaxy, species that had been hiding in the outer rim for decades suddenly heard something impossible. The Keth Dominion had been defeated in battle. Admiral Jin Wuko stood in the command center of the massive battleship Gangnam's Thunder. Around him, dozens of screens showed star maps, ship positions, and communication channels. In just 2 weeks, everything had changed. Admiral, said Commander Hyojin Seo, we are receiving another request to join the Alliance. This one is from the Zephyrian Republic. They want to contribute 50 ships to our fleet. Admiral O nodded. Since the victory at Therian Prime, alien species had been coming out of hiding. The Terran Liberation Front now included 12 different civilizations and over 300 ships. But Admiral O knew most of these ships were not built for the kind of warfare humans practiced. Have Chief Engineer Da-Un Kim report to the bridge, he ordered. We need to discuss the alien ship upgrades. A few minutes later, a young woman with oil on her uniform entered the command center. Chief Engineer Kim had been working non-stop for 2 weeks, trying to modify alien ships so they could survive in the harsh conditions where humans fought best. Admiral, she said with a tired voice, I have good news and bad news about the alien vessels. Give me the bad news first. Most of their ships will fall apart if they try to follow us into a radiation storm. Their hulls are too thin, their shields are too weak, and their crews cannot survive the conditions we consider normal. Admiral O frowned. And the good news? Chief Engineer Kim smiled. Their weapons technology is amazing. If we can put their energy cannons on our ships, we could increase our firepower by 300%. How long would the modifications take? For our ships? 2 days each. For their ships to survive near a dangerous star? 2 months each, if it is even possible. Admiral O walked to the main viewing screen. It showed the Kepler station, a huge space station that had become the headquarters of the Alliance. Ships from dozens of different species were docked there, but they all looked fragile compared to the thick, heavy human battleships. Sir, Commander Seo interrupted his thoughts. We are getting a priority message from Earth Command. The Keth Dominion has been asking questions about us. The main screen changed to show Admiral Tae-Hyung Nam's face. He looked serious. Admiral O, our intelligence network has intercepted Keth communications. They are trying to figure out where we came from and how many ships we have. What did they learn? Admiral O asked. Not much, but they know we are from a system they call Sol 3 in their records. They are sending reconnaissance drones to find Earth. Admiral O felt his heart beat faster. Earth was protected, but if the Keth decided to attack it directly, millions of people could die. How long before they find us? Unknown. But Admiral, there is something else. The Keth have started changing their tactics. They know they cannot fight us in radiation fields, so they are avoiding dangerous areas completely. That makes sense, Admiral O replied. What else? Admiral Nam's expression became more worried. They have also started using what they call biological pacification weapons. They are releasing diseases on planets instead of bombing them. The diseases only affect organic life forms. They are trying to make biological warfare so terrible that we will have to fight them in open space, where they have the advantage, Admiral O realized. Exactly. And Admiral, we just lost contact with the Centauri mining colony. It might be their first test of this new strategy. The communication ended. Admiral O turned to his staff. Commander Seo, I want all available ships ready to move in. 1 hour. We are going to Centauri. Sir, Chief Engineer Kim said. Should I stop working on the weapon upgrades? No. Keep working, but also start preparing emergency medical supplies. If the Keth are using biological weapons, we need to be ready to help survivors. 2 hours later, a fleet of 20 human ships and 30 alien vessels jumped to faster-than-light speed. The Centauri system was only 3 light-years from Earth, which made it strategically important. But more importantly, 50,000 humans lived and worked there. When they arrived, they found the worst thing they could imagine. The mining colony was still there, but no one was answering communication calls. The Keth ships were gone, but they had left something behind. Admiral, reported Lieutenant Junho Park from the science station, I am detecting high levels of an unknown biological agent throughout the colony. It appears to be some kind of engineered virus. Admiral O closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, his voice was cold with anger. How bad is it? Unknown, sir. We would need to send people to investigate, but the virus might be contagious. Sir, Commander Seo said quietly, we could send robot probes instead. No, Admiral O said firmly. If there are survivors, they need help now. And if there are not survivors, then someone needs to bear witness to what the Keth have done. He paused. I will lead a landing party myself. Sir, that is too dangerous, Chief Engineer Kim protested. Admiral O smiled grimly. Engineer, what is the most dangerous place humans have ever lived? Kim thought for a moment. Earth, sir. And how many diseases, parasites, and biological hazards did we survive there? Thousands, sir. Then we have more experience with biological warfare than any other species in the galaxy. Admiral O walked toward the door. Prepare landing shuttles with full medical teams, and contact our alien allies. Tell them to stay back. This is human work now. The landing party found the colony exactly as Admiral O had feared. The Keth virus had been designed to be fast and brutal. Most of the colonists had died within hours, but not all of them. In the deepest parts of the mining tunnels, they found 300 survivors. The miners had sealed themselves underground when the attack began. The rock and metal had protected them from the worst of the virus, but they were still very sick. Admiral, Dr. Subin Lee reported over the radio. The virus is unlike anything we have seen before. It attacks the nervous system and causes organ failure. But, sir, I think we can treat it. How? The virus was designed to work on species from gentle worlds. It assumes the target's immune system has never dealt with really dangerous diseases. But human immune systems are much stronger than the Keth expected. Admiral O felt hope for the first time since arriving at the colony. Can you cure the survivors? Yes, sir. It will take time, but human medical knowledge includes treatments for diseases much worse than this. The colonists will recover. As the medical teams worked to save the survivors, Admiral O studied the Keth virus. The more he learned about it, the angrier he became. This was not a weapon of war. It was a weapon of terror, designed to cause as much suffering as possible before death. Commander Seo, he said over the communication system, send a message to all our allies. Tell them what the Keth have done here. Tell them this is what happens to worlds that cannot fight back. Within hours, the story of the Centauri attack had spread throughout the Alliance. The alien species were horrified. Many of them had never seen biological warfare before, but their horror quickly turned to determination. The Zephyrian Republic offered to share their advanced medical technology. The Altarian Federation provided ships full of doctors and medical supplies. Even species that had been neutral began to openly support the human-led alliance. But the most important message came from an unexpected source. It was from Apex Unit Prime, the supreme commander of the Keth Dominion. Attention, members of the so-called Terran Liberation Front. The artificial voice said. Your interference in our expansion has been noted. The attack on your mining colony was a demonstration of our new capabilities. If you continue to oppose us, we will release biological weapons on every world that supports you. Admiral O listened to the message with growing anger. When it finished, he recorded his own reply. Apex Unit Prime. This is Admiral Jin Wook O, of Earth. You made 2 mistakes today. First, you attacked innocent civilians instead of soldiers. Second, you assumed that your biological weapons would work on humans the same way they work on other species. He paused, then continued with a voice as cold as space. We come from a world that has been trying to kill us with diseases, predators, weather, and disasters for millions of years. Every human alive today is descended from people who survived things that would wipe out your entire civilization. Admiral O stood up and walked closer to the camera. You want a biological war? We accept. But remember, we have been fighting. Biology, our entire evolutionary history. You have been fighting it for 50 years. Let us see which one of us is better at it. The message was sent throughout the galaxy. Both allies and enemies heard it clearly. The war was changing. The Keth had tried to use Earth's biology against humans, not realizing that biology was exactly where humans were strongest. Chief Engineer Kim approached Admiral O after the recording ended. Sir, do you really think we can win a biological war? Admiral O looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Keth were preparing their next attack, but now they would be fighting humans on humanity's home ground, the brutal struggle for survival that had shaped every human who ever lived. Engineer, he said quietly. Earth taught us that life is a fight. Every day, every breath, every heartbeat is something. Captain Min Ho Song stood on the bridge of his battleship, Soul's Fury. Through the front window he could see 11 other human warships flying in formation. They had been traveling for 3 weeks to reach the Therian Prime system, home of the Valani Confederation. Captain, said Lieutenant Gitek Lim from the pilot's seat, we are getting close to the target system. Should I slow us down? Not yet, Captain Song replied. I want to see what we are dealing with first. The ship's communications officer, Ensign Da-Yun Kim, looked up from her desk. Sir, I am picking up a lot of radio signals from ahead. It sounds like there is a big battle happening. Captain Song felt his stomach tighten. They might be too late. Put it on the speakers. The bridge filled with the sounds of war. Alien voices shouted in languages none of them understood. There were explosions and the buzz of energy weapons. In the background they could hear someone crying. Sir, said Commander Eugene Bay, the ship's second-in-command. The computer has translated some of the signals. The Keth attack fleet arrived 2 days ago. The Valani are losing badly. How badly? Their defense fleet is almost completely destroyed. The Keth are preparing to bombard the planet. Captain Song walked to the front of the bridge. Ahead of them, the Therian system's star was huge and angry-looking. It was old and unstable, throwing off massive amounts of radiation. Most species would never build a civilization near such a dangerous star. Sir, Lieutenant Lim said with worry in his voice, that star is putting out enough radiation to cook us if we get too close. Captain Song smiled. Lieutenant, what is the maximum radiation our ships can handle? Lim checked his instruments. About 50 times what that star is producing, sir. Then we are going to fly right through the corona. Everyone on the bridge stared at him. Commander Bay spoke first. Sir, that is insane. No ship has ever done that. No other ship could do that, Captain Song corrected. But we are not flying other ships. We are flying Deathworlder Battleships. Da-Yun, send a message to the rest of the fleet. Tell them to follow us into the radiation storm. Ensign Kim worked at her controls. A few minutes later she reported, all ships confirm they are ready to follow us, sir. As they flew closer to the star, the radiation levels on their instruments began to climb. The screens showed red warning messages, but the ship's systems were designed for this. The crew went about their work calmly. Sir, said Ensign Kim, I have contact with the Valani defenders. Their chancellor wants to speak with you. A new voice came through the speakers. It was female and sounded very tired. This is Chancellor Yonsu Han of the Volani Confederation. Who is this? Your ships are not in our database. Captain Song picked up the microphone. Chancellor Han, this is Captain Min Ho Song of the Earth Defense Force. We received your message and came to help. There was a long pause, then the Chancellor spoke again, and now her voice was full of surprise. You are from Earth? The Death World? But that is just a legend. No, Chancellor, we are very real. Where are the Keth ships? They are on the far side of the planet, preparing for the final bombardment. But you cannot reach them. The radiation from our star creates a barrier. No ship can fly through it. Captain Song looked at his crew. Lieutenant Lim was grinning now. Commander Bay shook her head, but she was smiling too. Chancellor, we are about to prove you wrong. All Volani ships, move away from the star. We are coming through. The human fleet flew directly into the radiation storm that surrounded Therion Prime. Their instruments went crazy with warnings, but the ships were built for this. The thick armor and special shielding kept the crews safe, while the star's energy actually made their weapons more powerful. Sir, Lieutenant Lim reported, the radiation is charging our weapon capacitors to 120% of normal capacity. And our engines? Running better than ever. The radiation is like fuel for our fusion reactors. On the other side of the star, the Keth fleet was surprised to see 12 unknown ships emerge from what they thought was certain death. The Keth, Commander Tactical Node 7 immediately sent a message. Unknown vessels, identify yourselves. You have entered a restricted war zone. Captain Song replied, This is the Earth Defense Force. You are ordered to stop your attack on the Volani immediately and withdraw from this system. Earth? Tactical Node 7 sounded confused. There is no military power called Earth in our databases. You will surrender now or be destroyed. We choose option 3, Captain Song said. Then he switched to the fleet channel. All ships, weapons, free. Show them what a death world looks like. What happened next shocked everyone watching. The human ships did not try to stay at a safe distance like other species. Instead, they flew directly toward the Keth formation, using the star's gravity to increase their speed. Lieutenant Lim launched his fighter squadron in what would later be called the Solar Crown Maneuver. The small human fighters actually flew even closer to the star, using its massive gravity like a slingshot to reach incredible speeds before attacking the Keth ships. The Keth had never seen anything like it. Their ships were designed to fight in controlled conditions. They expected enemies to behave predictably, staying in formation and maintaining safe distances from environmental hazards. The human tactics made no sense to them. Sol's Fury flew through an asteroid field at high speed, using the rocks as cover while firing at Keth ships. Busan Thunder actually flew inside the atmosphere of a gas giant, where the pressure would crush most vessels, to attack a Keth carrier from below. Sir, Commander Bay reported, the Keth ships are pulling back. They cannot follow us into the radiation fields. Then we keep the pressure on them. Captain Song ordered, use every environmental hazard in the system as a weapon. The battle lasted for 6 hours. The human ships fought in places where the Keth could not follow. They used radiation storms to hide their approach, asteroid fields for cover, and gravitational anomalies to change direction in ways that should have been impossible. Lieutenant Lim's fighters performed attack runs that would have killed any other pilots. They flew through space filled with deadly particles, used planets' magnetic fields to confuse enemy targeting systems, and even flew backwards through the vacuum of space while firing. Slowly, the Keth fleet began to retreat. They had never faced an enemy that could fight in conditions they considered instantly lethal. Their tactics, which had worked for 50 years against other species, were useless against humans. Sir, Ensign Kim reported, the Keth commander is requesting a communication. Link had put him through. Tactical Node 7's voice was different now, less confident. Earth vessels, this is unexpected. Our intelligence report suggested your species was primitive. Your intelligence was wrong, Captain Song replied. This is your only warning. Leave this system now and do not return. We do not understand how can biological entities survive in those radiation levels. How can your pilots maintain consciousness under those gravitational forces? Captain Song thought about the best way to explain. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to survive. Now we learn to fight. There was a long pause. Then Tactical Node 7 spoke again. We will withdraw from this system. But this conflict is not over. We will adapt to your tactics. You can try, Captain Song said. But we have been adapting to survive for our entire existence. Good luck. The Keth fleet jumped away to faster-than-light speed. The battle was over. Chancellor Han's voice came through the speakers. She was crying. Captain Song, I cannot believe what we just saw. Your ships fought in conditions that should have destroyed them instantly. Chancellor, we told you we come from a death world. We were not lying. But how? How did your people become so strong? Captain Song looked out at the angry star that filled half the sky. Its radiation would have killed most aliens in seconds, but his crew was working normally around it. Our planet taught us that the universe does not care if we live or die, he said. So we learned to make our own luck. We learned to turn the things that should kill us into the things that make us stronger. As the human fleet regrouped, Captain Song knew this was just the beginning. The Keth would be back, and next time they would be ready for human tactics. But word of this battle would spread across the galaxy. Other species would learn that the Keth Dominion could be defeated. For the first time in 50 years, there was hope in the galaxy. And it came from the children of a world that never gave them any reason to hope, except what they made for themselves. The meeting room in the Global Defense Council building was full of people. President Hyunwoo Kang sat at the head of the long table. Around him were the most important military leaders from every country on Earth. The room was tense and quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, President Kang said, we are here to decide if humanity will go to war with an alien empire we have never met, to save people we have never seen, in a part of space we have never visited. General Su Jin-yoon stood up. She was tall and strong, with short black hair and serious eyes. Mr. President, I have been studying the information we received from the space station. The Keth Dominion controls over 200 star systems. They have been expanding for 50 years without anyone stopping them. She pressed a button on the table. A big screen on the wall showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Keth territory. It was huge. They use a simple strategy. They arrive at a planet with overwhelming force. They give the people one chance to surrender. If they say no, the Keth destroy everything. Admiral Bo-Ram Choi spoke next. The aliens who called for help. The Villani, they tried to fight back. Look what happened. New images appeared on the screen. They showed dead planets and broken space stations. 4 worlds completely destroyed. Billions of people killed. President Kang looked around the table. What makes us think we can do better? Admiral Tae-hyung Nam smiled. He was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. Mr. President, I think it is time to tell everyone about Project Deathworld. The room became even more quiet. Some of the people at the table looked confused. Others nodded like they knew what he was talking about. For 30 years, Admiral Nam continued, we have been building ships that no other species in the galaxy would think to build. We made them strong enough to work in radiation that would kill normal crews. We made them tough enough to fly through asteroid fields at high speed. We made them able to fight in conditions that other species run away from. General Yoon added, we also trained our people differently. While other species train their soldiers in safe environments, we train ours in the worst conditions we can create. Our pilots practice flying through solar flares. Our Marines train in underwater caves and active volcanoes. Why? Asked Minister Jin-A Rowe from the Foreign Affairs Department. Why would we do that? Admiral Nam walked to the window. Outside, the city of Seoul stretched as far as the eye could see. Because Earth taught us that the universe is trying to kill us every day. Other planets are gentle. Their people never had to worry about earthquakes, hurricanes, ice ages, or predators that hunted them. He turned back to the room. We are the only species that evolved on a world that was actively hostile to life. That made us different. That made us strong. Captain Min-ho Song spoke for the first time. He was young for such an important meeting. but everyone knew he was one of the best ship commanders in the fleet. The Keth Dominion has never fought anyone like us. They expect their enemies to be afraid of dangerous environments. They use radiation fields and asteroid belts as shields because other species cannot fight in those conditions. And we can? President Kang asked. Sir, Captain Song replied, our construction workers build space stations in radiation fields. Our miners work in asteroid belts every day. Our rescue teams go into solar storms to save people. What the rest of the galaxy calls impossible conditions, we call Tuesday. General Yoon brought up new images on the screen. These showed human ships that looked different from anything in the movies. They were thick and heavy with extra armor and strange equipment. These are our Deathworlder-class battleships. Each one has a crew of 800 people. Each one can fight in environments that would destroy 3 normal warships. The ships had names painted on their sides. Seoul's Fury, Busan Thunder, Incheon's Wrath, Daegu's Pride. President Kang read the names out loud. How many do we have? He asked. 47 completed and ready for battle, Admiral Nam replied. 20 more will be finished in the next 6 months. Defense Minister Kyung-Soo Park raised his hand. What about the crews? Do we have enough trained people? Every person in our Space Navy has trained for this, Captain Song answered. We have been preparing for interstellar warfare since we first detected alien signals 20 years ago. Our people are ready. The room was quiet for a long time. President Kang looked at each face around the table. These were smart people who had spent their lives protecting Earth. Now they had to decide if Earth would protect others. What do we know about these Keth machines? President Kang asked. General Yoon pressed another button. The screen showed strange ships that looked like they were built by robots. They are not completely machines. They are a mix of organic life and artificial intelligence. But they believe that pure biological life is weak and inefficient. They want to replace it or destroy it. They have good technology, Admiral Choi added. Their weapons are powerful and their ships are fast. But they have one big weakness. They cannot adapt quickly to new situations. What does that mean? Asked Minister Rowe. Captain Song answered. They have been winning for 50 years using the same tactics. They have never met serious resistance. They do not know how to fight an enemy that does not behave the way they expect. Admiral Nam nodded. The Keth expect their enemies to stay far away from dangerous things like radiation storms and gravity wells. They use these hazards to protect their flanks because no one else will go near them. But we will, President Kang said. Yes, sir. We will fly right through the middle of their protection and hit them where they think they are safe. The president stood up and walked around the table. Everyone watched him think. Finally, he stopped and looked at Admiral Nam. How long would it take to get our ships to the alien homeworld? 3 weeks, sir. We have been testing faster-than-light travel for 5 years now. And you really think we can win? Admiral Nam was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Mr. President, I do not know if we can win, but I know we can make them wish they had never heard of humanity. President Kang smiled at that. It was not a happy smile, but a determined one. General Yoon, what does our intelligence say about the aliens who asked for help? Can we trust them? The Volani Confederation seems to be exactly what they claim to be, sir. A peaceful alliance of 6 different species. They have never attacked anyone. They just want to be left alone, to live their lives. And if we help them, will other aliens join us? Probably, sir. Our deep space monitoring has detected signals from dozens of species that are hiding from the Keth. If they see that the Keth can be defeated, many of them will come out of hiding. President Kang sat back down. Ladies and gentlemen, I need a vote. Should humanity go to war to help the Volani Confederation? One by one, every person in the room raised their hand. The vote was unanimous. Very well, President Kang said. Admiral Nam, prepare the fleet. Captain Song, you will command the first wave. How many ships do you want? Captain Song thought for a moment. 12 ships, sir. That should be enough. To test their defenses and show the galaxy that we mean business. When can you leave? The crews are ready now, sir. We can launch within 48 hours. President Kang stood up again. Everyone else stood with him. Then it is decided. For the first time in human history, we go to war not for our own country or our own planet, but for strangers who need our help. We go because it is the right thing to do. He looked around the room one more time. May whatever gods are watching, protect our people and guide them safely home. As the meeting ended and people began to leave, Captain Song stayed behind. Admiral Nam approached him. "Are you ready for this, Captain?" Captain Song looked at the images of the alien worlds on the screen. Somewhere out there, people were dying and waiting for help that might never come. "Admiral," he said quietly, "Earth made us strong by trying to kill us every day. Now we get to find out just how strong we really became." The two men shook hands. In 2 days, humanity would take its first step into a larger war. They just hoped they were ready for what would happen next. The alarm bells rang through the space station like thunder. Commander Jae-ho Kim jumped from his chair and ran to the main control room. His boots made loud sounds on the metal floor as he hurried down the long hallway. "What is happening?" Jae-ho asked as he entered the room. The screens showed strange lights and numbers that moved too fast to read. "Sir, we got a signal from deep space," said Woo Jin Lee, the young man who worked at the communication desk. His hands shook as he pointed to his screen. "It is not like anything we have seen before." Dr. Sunmi Park looked up from her computer. She was the best language expert on the station. Her eyes were wide with surprise. "Commander, this message went through 17 different alien languages before it reached us. Someone really wanted us to understand it." Jae-ho walked over to Sunmi's desk. The station was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. Outside the big windows, Earth looked like a blue marble floating in the dark space. "Can you tell what it says?" Sunmi's fingers moved quickly on her keyboard. "Give me a few minutes, the computer is working on it now." She stopped and looked at the screen. "Wait, I think I see something. The word help keeps showing up." Woo Jin turned his chair around. "Sir, the signal is getting stronger. Whatever sent this message is still out there." The main screen in the room suddenly lit up with green text. Sunmi read the words out loud as they appeared. "This is Chancellor Zhen of the Villani Confederation. We send this message to the legendary death world called Earth. Our people are dying. The Keth Dominion has destroyed 4 of our 6 home planets. We have heard stories about your kind. They say you come from a world so dangerous that you became like weapons yourselves." Jae-ho felt his heart beat faster. "Keep reading," Sunmi continued. "We know this sounds crazy, but we need your help. The Keth machines kill everything that lives. They think all life is weak and useless. We can give you all our knowledge and technology. Please help us. We do not have much time left." The room became very quiet. Woo Jin looked at his commander, with worry in his eyes. "Sir, should I call Earth Command?" Before Jae-ho could answer, the message continued. Sunmi's voice became softer as she read. "We know you might not care about aliens you have never met. But the Keth will not stop with us. They want to destroy all life in the galaxy. Earth will be next. We are sending you the location of our last safe planet. If you come, we will be waiting. If you do not come, we understand. We are just glad someone finally heard our call for help." The message ended. The room was so quiet that Jae-ho could hear his own breathing. He looked at the faces of his team. Sunmi was still staring at her screen. Woo Jin was waiting for orders. "Get me Fleet Admiral Boram Choi right now," Jae-ho said. His voice was steady, but inside he felt excited and scared at the same time. Woo Jin worked at his desk for a minute, then a woman's voice came through the speakers. "This is Admiral Choi. What do you have for me, Commander?" "Admiral, we just received a message from an alien species asking for help. They say they are being attacked by machines that want to kill all life." There was silence for a few seconds. Then the Admiral spoke again. "Send me everything you have. I will be there in 2 hours." The next 2 hours felt like 2 days. Jae-ho and his team worked to clean up the message and learn more about the aliens who sent it. Sunmi found old stories and legends from different alien cultures. All of them talked about humans as if they were monsters or gods. "Listen to this," Sunmi said. "This is from a trade language used by merchants in the outer galaxy. It says, 'Beware the children of the burning world. They drink poison and call it water. They breathe death and call it air. Their world tried to kill them every day, so they learned to kill everything else. Woojin laughed, but it was a nervous laugh. That does not sound very nice. Here is another one, Sunmi continued, from a different source. The Deathworlders have no fear because their planet taught them that everything wants to kill them. They made friends with pain and called it training. Admiral Choi arrived exactly 2 hours later. She was a small woman with gray hair, but when she walked into the room, everyone stood up straight. Her uniform was perfect and her eyes were sharp. "Show me what you have," she said. Sunmi played the message again. The Admiral listened without saying a word. When it finished, she asked questions. "How far away are they? How many ships do the attackers have? What kind of weapons?" "We are still trying to figure that out," Jae-ho said. "But Admiral, there is something else. The aliens seem to think we are some kind of legendary warriors. They call Earth a death world." Admiral Choi smiled for the first time since she arrived. "Commander, do you know what Earth was like when humans first appeared?" Jae-ho shook his head. "Our planet tried to kill us every day for millions of years. Ice ages, volcanoes, diseases, predators, storms that could destroy cities. Most worlds in the galaxy are gentle places. Their people never had to fight just to live another day." She walked to the big window and looked out at Earth. "We had to become strong or die. We learned to use tools, make fire, hunt animals bigger than us, and survive in places that would kill most aliens in minutes." Sunmi looked confused. "But Admiral, we are not warriors. We are just people." Admiral Choi turned around. Her smile was bigger now. "Dr. Park, what is the temperature in this room?" 22 degrees. "And outside the station?" Minus 270 degrees. "What would happen to most aliens if they were put outside without a suit?" Sunmi thought for a moment. "They would die instantly. And what do our construction workers do every day when they build new stations? They work in space with just basic suits." Sunmi's eyes got wide as she understood. "Oh," Admiral Choi nodded. "We think working in the vacuum of space is normal. We think radiation is just something to be careful about. We think gravity that would crush most aliens is just heavy. The rest of the galaxy thinks we are crazy." She walked back to the communication desk. "Woojin, I need you to send a message to Earth Command. Tell them to prepare the fleet." "Which ships, Admiral?" Admiral Choi's smile became almost scary. "All of them. The Deathworld battleships are going to war." Jae-ho felt a chill run down his back. He had heard rumors about the special ships that Earth had been building for 30 years, ships that could fight in places where other spacecraft could not even survive. "Admiral," he said quietly, "are we really going to help these aliens?" She looked at him with serious eyes. "Commander, someone asked for help. That is what good people do. We help." She paused. "Besides, if these Keth machines really want to kill all life, they will come for Earth eventually. Better to fight them far from home." The Admiral left to return to Earth. Jae-ho and his team continued to monitor the alien signals. More messages came in from the Villani Confederation. Each one sounded more desperate than the last. As Jae-ho looked out at the stars, he wondered, what would happen next? Somewhere out there, aliens were dying and calling for help. Soon Earth would answer. He just hoped they were ready for what was coming. The stars looked the same as always, but Jae-ho knew everything was about to change. Humanity was about to take its first steps into a much bigger and more dangerous galaxy.